So today I want to talk about motor skill delays in achondroplasia and how that can have an impact on developing social skills. Hi there, my name is Cynthia Veronica and I have two children, Samantha who is 4 years old, Sebastian who is 6 years old, and Sebastian just happens to have achondroplasia, which is the most common form of dwarfism. So I am not a doctor or a therapist. My son does see a variety of therapists, including speech therapists, occupational therapists, and other medical specialists. And I wanted to share something that I learned along the way from talking to some of my son's specialists. So now that Sebastian is 6 years old, I am working with him on developing social graces. What that means is something as simple as, hey, someone greets you or someone says hi to you, you have to say hi back. You can't just say nothing or ignore them or just walk away. At this point, I also want him to not just say hi back, but I tell him you have to have one or two more exchanges. He can say, how are you? Or how was your weekend? So especially now that he has been in school in person for several months and he has gotten to know the teachers and other classmates very well, I want him to work on these social skills. So what does this have to do with achondroplasia? So generally speaking, children at this age, 6 years old, are still working on, getting comfortable with movement and placement of their body in space. This is called proprioception, and I actually talk about proprioception a little bit in a previous video that I uploaded, which I can link in the description bar below. So a child in general needs to be given time to respond when they are spoken to. It's very important to give them a lot more time than you may think that they need. And a classic example of this is when they're getting out of the car at school drop-off and the teacher says hello to them and they don't say anything right away. But it's clear that the child is physically struggling to get out and having a hard time. And, they have to, remove their seatbelt and get out of the car seat and grab their lunch bag and physically get out of the car while holding onto their lunch bag and maybe even sometimes wearing a heavy, cumbersome jacket. They cannot process the physical movement and the verbal response to say hi back at the same time. So as adults, we expect the response to happen right away. But we're also accustomed to speaking while our bodies are in motion, to some degree. So it comes naturally to us. So we naturally expect the child to act the same way. But now imagine a child with achondroplasia getting out of the car may be a little bit more challenging than it may be for an average height child. That motion of trying to figure out how to jump or crawl out of the car, with a lunchbox in hand and with a cumbersome jacket on and trying to land on the curb gracefully while doing so quickly so that the drop-off line isn't being held back in the process. So there's a lot of thought that has to go into this movement alone. So imagine all that while someone is greeting you and you have to greet them back. It just takes a lot of skill set for a child, and this is something that I didn't even realize. And after it was pointed out to me, I started to see it in other children with achondroplasia around the same age as Sebastian. My eyes were suddenly open. I started noticing with certain achon children, an adult would say something to them and they would either not respond or the response would be very delayed. And as I observed, I noticed all, at the same time, they were focused on walking or some other movement while the adult was trying to talk to them. So for a while, we worked with a wonderful occupational therapist, and I think when someone provides you with information that helps you understand, what your child is going through or how they're processing information, it really allows you to help your child overcome some of these challenges. And so I wanted to share this information with other parents because achondroplasia is rare and not many doctors specialize in it or understand what a child with achondroplasia is going through. not just physically, but socially and emotionally. And the more you know what challenges they may face, the more you can help your child. So for a while, I just didn't understand why simple social graces were taking my child, a little longer to pick up. But once I finally understood that processing information is difficult when you're being challenged physically, I learned more meaningful and more productive ways to encourage, the social interactions and social development. And I also learned not to push too hard. It's important to give them space and time to learn. So I hope this was enlightening. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye for now.